Salutations YouTube, it is RikaRocks2001 making yet again another review video. I thought I would do a review on this At Games. I think that's the company that makes this. This is an Atari Flashback system. The reason why I say it's At Games is because I don't know if it's them, because their system is almost similar to the Sega Genesis At Games system, which a lot of people hate. If you're after a At Games Genesis, I'd recommend the new one that has HDMI on it, because at least the sounds on that actually sound prior to the original Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on where you're from. Other than that, let's get on with the review. This is the fourth variation. There's also a 1, 2, and 3, and I think a new version. There are some ups and downs to this flashback system. Each variation has different games on them. So this is the fourth variation. I might get my hands on the other three, but I don't know. Plus, to tell you the truth, I've never owned an Atari 2600 back in the day. Heck, I wasn't even around at that time. That was a system in the 70s to 80s. And I was born in 95, so chances of me ever playing an Atari, well, no, I've never played one, so I never got that experience. That may change one of these days. I might get my hands on an original 2600. But let's get on to the review. First, let's take a look at the system. We'll come back to the controllers a bit later. Here's the console. It actually looks a lot like an Atari 2600 original wood version, but this is actually small as the junior variation. It may have some bells and whistles, but let's take a look around the system. Got your power button, your start button to start the game, your difficulty buttons for the left and right controllers for player 1 and 2, and a select button, that's to select your game. Although these two buttons are also on controller 1, I'll come back to that in a moment. And on the front, you got your infrared receiver and your left and right controller ports. Note that on an actual Atari system, it will work with the Genesis controller. I tried that with this system, it doesn't work. But to be fair, there have been other people saying they've tried this with their Flashback with an actual Genesis and it doesn't work. So your best bet is to actually use an actual Atari controller or just use the wireless controllers. I don't have an official 2600 controller, so I can't do a proper comparison. But other than that, let me show you the back of the system. You've got your AC adapter and your AV cables. Unlike the At Games Genesis, the AV cables on this system are hardwired to the system. Unlike the actual Atari system, the real Atari has a RF out only. So if you want to use that on a monitor television, you will need to hook it through a VCR or DVD player or something like that. You got your AC adapter. This is removable. In fact, it uses the same, well, I want to say the same as the Sega Genesis At Games, but the voltage would not work. In fact, I tried using the AC adapter from this to my At Games Genesis, and it never worked. Reason why I tried doing that is because I lost the AC adapter to that originally, and it wouldn't work. I haven't tried it the other way around. I have not tried this AC adapter on, or the AC adapter on the Genesis to this, and I don't want to take a chance because it probably wouldn't work either. But yeah, on the bottom it says information saying this was manufactured in July of 2012. Information, blah blah blah. There are 5 screws here. These 4 on the corners and that one down there underneath that sticker. Other than that, I forgot to show you the cables that are hardwired to it. So it is mono, I need to mention. So you got your video and then your left or right mono audio. There is a way to get at least mono. Well, it's not technically stereo, but mono out of both channels. You need an adapter for that. And luckily, I have that adapter. In fact, here it is. I use this adapter. As you can see, this adapter allows you to have mono coming out of both cables. You plug this into your TV, or HDTV, and this into your white plug. So you'll have sound coming out of both speakers in your left and right channels. So that's how you get sound coming out of both speakers on your television, and you get the idea. But let's get back to the controllers. Now these are wireless, so it takes 2 AAAs for each controller. Now, I need to mention they're infrared, just like the AtGames Genesis. Got buttons, but compared to an actual Atari controller, which I've actually felt one before, I never bought it, unfortunately, because I don't have a 2600. Though I could have bought it for this. It actually feels like a real Atari controller. I'm not kidding. In fact, this feels like an actual Atari controller. But unlike the actual one, you got extra buttons on the front here. You've got reset button, select and start. And what's nice about this compared to the AtGames Genesis controller, this one has an on-off switch. That way your batteries don't drain quicker. I don't know why those Genesis controllers don't have that. Oh, and player 2 doesn't have the buttons on the front. So this is the second player controller. As you see, it says player 2 right there. This one says player 1. Underneath here you've got your feet just like on an actual controller. A little screw thing, and then you take the thing off to get to the batteries. Same with player 2, it's no different. The only difference is this one has extra buttons on the front, which is your reset, start, and select buttons, and that one doesn't have that. So that's part 1 of the video. Stay tuned for part 2, where I go ahead and demonstrate the system in action. So stay tuned for that.